Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Good Game RC. Now, since last week, I've been thinking about this a lot. I kind of did a little bit of a different format last week with the GGRC formula, and I did sort of like a story-based type of thing. It was all Switch related. It was all Nintendo Switch related, but everything, every piece of it was like a different story that I could tell and whatnot. It almost felt like a news program of sorts, and I was thinking like maybe moving forward that maybe that could be sort of a new format for this. I know that the GGRC show has sort of just been kind of like random videos that I think to do now and then, but I feel like this might be a little bit more organic for me to kind of talk about a lot of different things that are on my mind that are taking place, within the gaming industry and whatever else comes up. So, I think we're gonna mark this as like kind of a new way to approach the show. So, we're gonna start things out a little differently here, though, and I'm gonna talk about what I've been playing lately. Now, with the Switch coming out today, by the way, as of right now, I am waiting for my Switch to arrive because I already have a copy of Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild on the Switch here, and I was pretty impressed by the packaging for this here. It's a tiny little cartridge, and I don't want to show you the other game I'm playing because I want to leave it as a surprise. I did talk about it last week, but like if you compare the size of the Wii U box to the Switch box here, and if you compare the sides, which was the photo that I wanted a lot of people to take, was like how big is this, on the side here, but no one would take that picture. It kept going like, oh yeah, hey, look at it this way, look at it that way, but not like this. These are skinny, they're very thin. Very much like a PSP case, but I think even thinner. And I know last week we had mentioned that people were sort of talking about how there was a lot of wasted space inside, but like when you actually open it up and you're holding it, it's not that big a deal. Like where the cart is right here, it looks really small, but I'm actually a big fan of the way this is presented. Like if there was a manual, I guess people wouldn't be complaining as much, but it's obvious, They did put little latches in here to put manuals in there at some point, but they're leaving this whole part blank, and they're actually printing on both sides of the label, which I think is pretty awesome. But I digress. I'm waiting for my Switch, so this will soon be the game that I'm playing. But what I'm playing right now, because the Switch is coming out today, been going through my Wii U catalog, been trying to kind of go through a lot of the games that I have been... I guess that I've ignored over the years, that I've owned but haven't spent a lot of time with. So I mentioned this game last week, but I played through a lot more of it this week, and I've beaten it the other night, but I keep finding myself every day when I get home from work wanting to play a little bit more of it and unlock, different things and find different characters within it. Anyway, it's Rayman Legends for the Wii U. Now, I know this is on different consoles at this point, but I've been having a hell of a lot of fun playing this, and I don't know if it's because this one came out really soon after Rayman Origins came out, but I sort of ignored this when I bought it. I bought it way back when, I think way past launch when I got my Wii U, because I didn't get my Wii U at launch. I got it like a year later, so I must have got this game for like $20 or something like that. But man, I'm so glad I came back to it because I ended up having a hell of a lot of fun with this. Definitely recommended if you're looking for games on your Wii U to play before you get a Switch eventually. But yeah, having a great time with that one. The other game that I want to go into is the new Ghost Recon Wildlands game. Now, I played the beta for this, and normally I would do a separate, video where I show off beta gameplay. And I'm going to show off a little bit right here while I'm talking about it. But I was not very impressed with this beta. I didn't put a lot of time into it, but I don't feel like I needed to put a lot of time into it to really, garner an opinion on it. When I was playing it, I was just, I don't know, I guess I expected something a lot different than what I got. Now, of course, it's just you and three buddies or three AI, computer control characters that are against the cartel. You're trying to shut down this big drug operation, which I guess is the story here. But I don't know, controls and flow of the game and everything just didn't do much for me. Especially with the vehicles. When I'm in an open world game and I get into a vehicle, I want to just be crazy. I want to go around, I want to run into things, I want to go fast. And this isn't that kind of game. Now, maybe it's just me. Maybe this isn't a game for me, and that's totally fine. But it just isn't there for me. This isn't a game that I feel like I'm going to end up picking up. And what's interesting about it is I kind of feel the same way about Wildlands as I felt about the Division that came out last year. The Division I felt a little bit more positive about, and I actually at the time, when I was playing the beta, I was like, maybe I will pick this up, but like at some point playing a little bit more of it, I was just kind of like, yeah, I got my fill of it. I don't really feel like I need to play more of it. In Ghost Recon Wildlands, I maybe played at most like an hour and a half of it, and it just was not clicking for me. Who knows, maybe this is a game that comes out later, and I end up playing a hell of a ton of it, hell of a lot of it, however you want to put it. I end up playing a lot of Ghost Recon Wildlands, who knows? But I just don't see it happening. It's not really clicking with me. So, there you have it, Ghost Recon Wildlands, and again, for those of you who are looking for games on the Wii U to play before you give it up for your Switch, Rayman Legends, definitely check it out. But as I sit here waiting for UPS to show up to deliver my Switch, and I have my copy of Breath of the Wild just sitting here staring me in the face, I can't help but talk about all of the great reviews this game has been getting this week. I think the embargo on the review went up Wednesday night or Thursday morning at some point. And this game has been getting 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, 100 out of 100, 15 bananas out of 15 bananas, whatever you're gauging here. It's been getting perfect scores all over the place. I think I saw maybe one score that was like, 4.5 out of 5 stars or something similar to that. It's insane how good the reviews are for this. It's almost like, are you serious? Is it really that great of a game, or is everybody like, what am I missing here? So, needless to say, I am anxiously awaiting playing this game because of that, because so many people seem to be thinking that this game is just like, the next coming of Christ, I guess. But regardless, however you want to put it, not to offend anybody, but however you want to put it, they think that this is like the next perfect game, and obviously 10 out of 10 doesn't mean it's perfect, it just means it's really, really enjoyable. But I'm really looking forward to jumping into it. But it's interesting to see so many news outlets and so many video game websites agreeing on this. A lot of times it's a lot more divisive of a decision for different. One website will give a 5 out of 5 to something, another one will give, 3 out of 5 or even 2 out of 5 to something. But all of these sites are like in the same. They're all agreeing on the same score here. So it's really interesting to see that, and it's I'm not quite sure how to feel about it at the moment. It's not a bad thing, but it's just a little strange. Now, another game that was released this week that seems to be doing really well with reviewers is Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, this is a game that, ever since it was announced at whatever E3, was it a couple years ago or whatever, I thought it looked awesome. However, the problem is I don't have a PS4, so this is a game that I may end up missing out on. I'm sure I'll get a PS4 at some point, maybe? I'm not sure. I don't know. I was not really sold on the Xbox One or the PS4 like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, but now the PS4 seems to have a lot of great games on it. All these awesome exclusives are coming out, including Horizon Zero Dawn, and I really want to check this game out. It looks great, looks like a lot of fun, and so in addition to Zelda doing really good this week with scores, it seems like this one is right behind Zelda in that regard. So it's really cool to see two games, getting all this fanfare and all these great scores released within the same week. It's a little weird. And, in a couple weeks, it's probably going to happen again with the new Mass Effect game that comes out. So there are a lot of big games coming out just this month that are going to be really high-scoring games. So it's interesting because it feels like a lot of the Game of the Year games are being released within the first quarter of 2017 here, and that's very unusual. Normally the Game of the Year games are released around the October time, so having them released in March 2017 is kind of refreshing, really. So yeah, hopefully I'll get a PS4 at some point. I'll get a chance to check out Horizon Zero Dawn, but until then I'll be checking out videos, and I hope you do too, because this is a game that I feel like people need to check out. So Blizzard has finally come forward and announced and revealed who the new hero in Overwatch is going to be. Her name is Orisa, and it's a robot, which everyone's saying her, but I'm not sure that robots can be he or her, right? So it's sort of, I don't know, it's genderless at that point, right? But everyone's saying it's a her, even though it's a robot. But regardless, the character is really cool. Now, she has 4 legs. She kind of moves like a tank almost, like a spider tank. And I actually have her stuff pulled up right here. Let's take a look at her ability. So her main gun is this really cool looking Gatling gun. And her animation for walking looks great. Because she has 4 legs, it's got sort of like that dog walk feel to it, you know? So yeah, she's got a Gatling gun, a machine gun of some sort. And she has, let's see, her first ability is called Fortify, which shows that she can become super strong. She gets sort of a sheen around her, and even if you're Reinhardt and you try to attack her with his ultimate and knock her down, it won't knock her down. She can run right through it. Her next is called Halt. So this special ability is sort of what Zarya has in the game already. And she shoots out this green ball, and then everybody is sort of frozen in place. Her next one is actually called Protective Barrier. So this is very similar to what Reinhardt does, where he can put the shield out in front of him, but instead of it being attached to her, she kind of throws it out in front of her. So there's that. We also have... for her final is the Supercharger. Now, the Supercharger here is sort of a canister that she'll throw down, and anybody that's within the vicinity of it, it will, boost their damage. So she has a lot of cool abilities, and she is going to be a tank class, and I guess the whole idea behind Orisa here is that she, at least from what I can tell, she's a combination of all the different tanks put together. So with the Supercharger, giving people a damage boost, that's sort of what Mercy can do with hers, except she can give it to multiples. The Protective Barrier is something Reinhardt can do. The Halt is something that Zarya can do. The Fortify, I don't remember, does anybody have an ability like that? That's something new, though, but that's yet another support item there. I mean, I guess the closest thing to that would be May's Ice Block that she encapsulates herself in, except... with Fortify, it looks like she can keep running. Yeah, she just runs right through. So I don't know if that actually slows her down or anything like that, or just gives it like a temporary super duper armor boost or something like that. But regardless, I think the character looks great. I think she has a great look. I think that her abilities are really cool. But the thing that I fear the most right out the get-go is with all of these abilities and taking all of the greatest abilities from all of the other tanks, I fear that she's going to be kind of overpowered when she's first introduced. Now, I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. Maybe her Gatling gun is super weak. Maybe that's part of it. But I really don't know. With all of these great abilities that I'm looking at on the Blizzard website right now, this to me just looks like, why play Reinhardt when you got a Protective Barrier you can always put up with Orisa? Why play Zarya when you can do the same, Halt ability that you can do with Zarya? What would be the point? Let's see, what was the other one? And the Fortify thing, and she gets a Fortify thing that nobody else has. So why play other tanks when she has a lot of these great abilities? Plus the Supercharger. I mean, she is the ultimate support tank. So I just hope that she doesn't come out and she's super overpowered, because she looks like a great character, and I don't want it to end up like at the beginning how Bastion used to be, where the first 6 months of Overwatch, if you're playing as Bastion, people would give you a lot of shit about it and be like, oh, of course, he's a Bastion, So I don't want a team to play as 3 Orisas and win every single time, and everyone's like, oh, of course you won. There's 3 Orisas on the team, but only time will tell, and hopefully we'll get a chance to play with her pretty soon. So the last tidbit I have for you here, the last news piece, however you want to refer to it, is I don't know if you read about it or remember, but last month in February, there was somebody who was shipping $10,000 worth of SNES stuff to someone who's a game archiver. I believe his name is pronounced Bayou, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Anyway, they shipped it through the United States Postal Service to him, and I believe what he was trying to do was he was going to take pictures of the games, and he was maybe going to ROM dump the games so that way he has them for archiving. And it got lost, if you can believe it. It got lost in the mail. So when I read that last month, that just made my heart sink. I don't know about you guys, but when I hear that, I'm like, ugh, not only are you losing $10,000 worth of your property, but it's $10,000 worth of really super cool SNES stuff. So it's like, oh man, that is such a crappy feeling. But this week, there's a silver lining. They ended up finding the box, and they got it shipped over to Bayou. So everything's fine. It was recovered. He got all the games. Thankfully. Let's hope that this doesn't happen when he ships it on its way back to the original owner, because if it happens again, once bitten, twice shy, right? You gotta approach this with some sort of apprehension, right? But I'm really glad to hear that the package was found, because man, if that was my stuff, I would be so upset, because I was upset already. well, maybe not upset, but I just felt really bad for the guy when I first read that. So glad to hear that there was a happy ending to that story. But there you go, everybody. That's all I got for you here on this edition of GGRC. Tell me what you think of this. Tell me what you want to hear about. What kind of stories do you want me to talk about? Basically, what I did this episode is I was just picking things that I wanted to talk about, myself. So, again, let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you want to hear about. What do you think about all these things that are going on? What do you think of the new Overwatch hero that's coming out? Please leave me a message. I will see you next time on Good Game RC. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to check out some of the other GGRC episodes. And if you're feeling a little retro, why not jump into the Quake grave, where you can watch me play through a lot of different custom maps in Quake. Enjoy!